Okay, I'm going to try to show you how to make the kite for Mary Poppins Musical. And what you're going to need are two of these. These are 1/8 inch wood dowels. That's going to make the kite. And then this is a 1/4 inch dowel. That's going to be what the cast holds to fly the kite. This is going to be attached to it. So this we're not going to work with right now, but they're two separate sizes. So these are the real skinny ones that are only 1/8 of an inch. So starting off lengthwise, the kite's going to be 36 inches tall. So you can measure that. You can cut it however you like. I'm just going to do a quick cut, actually using a type of like wire cutter. Yeah. So that's the 36 inch. Then you're going to need a 24 inch cross piece. Okay, so now since this is 48 inches, one of these can work for two kites, essentially. So we mark that at 24, just right here. Okay, so one of these is going to be for this kite. The other one, 24 inches, will go to a separate kite. So you have a 24 inch piece and a 36 inch piece. What you need to do is measure down from the top of this 12 inches. Okay, so 1 foot, so it's 3 feet long, so you're gonna go 1/3 of the way down. At 12 inches, that's where this cross piece is gonna be. And this cross piece, since it's 24, its middle is also 12, so ideally you have something to mark it with. So say just a pencil or anything, just making sure I can see the mark. There, that's a 12, and here, this is a 12. And that's where they're going to overlap. Now you need to attach them. I found the easiest way to just attach them together would just be using hot glue. So you can put a little bit of hot glue right here on this one. Push this one down into the hot glue. Kind of go over the top. The main thing with it is just that because it's hot and very flexible right now, it's going to take a little bit before it's set. So I find the time-consuming part is really just waiting for the hot glue to cool off, so you can move on to the next step. If you go too fast, it's going to just fall apart. So you're just going to have to wait. What is going to be the next step? Well, we're going to resecure this more, going to add a little more hot glue, but also then you're going to need string. Okay, so the string is going to go all the way around the perimeter of the kite. All right, so I don't have the exact measurement on this right now. Maybe I'll do it as we do this video and I wait for that to cool. So this is just to kind of roughly give you the dimension. And then obviously we can cut it shorter as long as we cut this piece long, then later we'll make it shorter. Okay, so we need a piece that's at least this long. So you need a pair of scissors. Cut your string. You have to have this outline for the kite, or else your material that you're going to use to make the kite with has nothing to support it, and it's just going to have no shape. So you think the crossbar isn't going to do that. You could do this whole thing out of wood as well, but it's just going to cost a lot more. So you multiply that by the number of kites, and it's going to take quite a bit. So what we have here is a piece of string, and this piece of string is, just to give us an idea of how long it is, because I don't actually know. So that is 39 inches. Okay, so that's 78. 88, 89, it's about 90 inches, 90 inches. Okay. So when we're going to secure this, the best way to do it is, now you can see this is on there. It's not very strong. So you might want to flip it over and then put a little bit of glue along the back side as well. And after doing this, kind of right over the top of it and then letting that cool off, that's going to be set. So while we're letting that to cool, what you're going to do is take your string and go to the bottom of the kite. First, I'd like to tie a little loop in it first, slide it over the bottom, tighten it, do it again, and now you can put hot glue on this to secure it, which is a good idea. If you have, looking for my super glue will be good too, because it's a lot faster, and it works really well with rope and wood. It kind of hardens up the rope, and it makes it good because they're porous. A good bond actually between them, so it's something that's good to use. So, but if not, you could just put a little dab of the hot glue here too. All right, so we've got sticks crossed together, string attached to the bottom. An option for the next step is using a razor or something to slightly, these are so tiny, there's not much you can do, but just to kind of score this, because it's very hard to get the string to stay here. So if there was a notch, that would be great. So, but the sticks are so thin, you don't have much room for that without destroying them, but that's kind of the idea. So if you can do that even the slightest bit, all right, that would help. So the idea is the string is going to come around an outline like this, the kite, and then we're going to secure it, each of those points with the hot glue. Okay, and now what you should have is enough so that on the bottom here, you could then take this final one, and then I actually cut this a bit short. It looks like it should actually be a little bit longer. So cutting it longer might be wise. And then you could just tie this off to the previous string so they're connected. Get this, just so there's a bit of a connection there. Oops, I lost my knot. Okay, sorry. Don't have much to tie it with here. Okay, so I'll get some hot glue, securing that, and then each of the corners where the rope comes in, get some hot glue. Hot glue up here. This one came off. Get some hot glue on there. Okay, so the glue isn't set, but that's the idea. Now you have the basic kite frame, and we can go ahead and add the material for the kite. So that's what we're gonna do next here, is lay that out. So I'm just gonna move some stuff over. So we have the space. Put the kite on the side. So this is just colorful tablecloth. So very inexpensive. This actually has been used already at a party. Got slightly some holes in it, and it can be used for this. So lie this down. Flatten it out. kite frame here. Lay that down. Ideally, you'd have a little bit longer space here. I'm just gonna move this as far as I can. So leave about an inch above the top. And then what we're gonna do is you need to make an outline of the kite that we're gonna cut out. It's gonna be about 1 inch. So here I have a bunch of excess on the bottom. It's just gonna get in the way. I'm just cutting it away. I don't need it. Just to make this easier on myself. All right. And now you can mark it first and then cut it, or just estimate and cut. It doesn't have to be exact, but you're cutting about 1 inch from the string. Same thing on this side. If your kite moves, just kind of recenter it. That. I have this doubled up. You don't have to have it doubled up. You could just do a single layer. It's much thinner, but it should be fine. Okay. So now you have kite material. Slide apart, just make sure you just really overlap them. Your kite down with that border around the edge, and then the next thing is we're going to just tape, fold this over like this, and then apply some tape along it, which I'll have to go get, and then we'll do that. All right, so you'll get some scotch tape. Fold over one of your edges, somewhere in the middle. Just secure it like that. Work up near the top. You can overlap it with the strut here, help anchor them together. Near the bottom. And then we're just going to kind of repeat that around, and then eventually we're going to do every bit of it. So all the entire seam is going to be taped in place. But the really long pieces are going to be difficult, most likely to keep straight without folding over on themselves or getting stuck where they're not supposed to be. So doing it in a series of small pieces like this, I think in the end works a little bit better. It makes it easier for you when you're putting this together. You're going to find here you can cut these, like put a little cut into it and then fold it, or just fold one, just like wrapping a present, and then kind of folding this over the top. It doesn't have to be perfect for what it's being used for. No one's going to really see that, and even if they did, it would look fine, I think. Just see this fold right there, you can tape it down. that's not finished, but it's secure enough at the moment that you can kind of see, here's the kite kind of attached. Now, a couple more things you want to do. One is, like I said, you want to secure the whole thing. It's just going to be far more durable that way because it's going to be used in rehearsals and then actually during a performance. So you don't want it falling apart and then have to redo it. So just make it as secure as possible, and then you'll never have to worry about it again. Okay. Oops. All right, now there's one more part to this. So now it's completely seamed all the way around. This stick needs to be attached to the frame. So there are two ways of doing it. One is just taping it down, which is quicker and fine. I use the superglue just because it's, you can't see. You can see the tape kind of through it, I think. And so the super glue is even better. So I'm just super gluing it. So you have two options with this. If you have a good super glue, put glue along this frame like this. Tighten it up a little like that. Try to make sure you don't get glue on yourself. Make sure you move this in the glue. All right. Now, part of this is going to stick up in the air, so it's not going to be able to touch the glue, so you'll be able to do the ends, but only probably about halfway with the glue. And these you'll have to kind of hold down to make sure they're actually touching. While that's the kite itself, once this is all set, there's one other part to that, and that is that that's just a kite. You have to be able to fly it, and so you have to do, that's where the other stick comes in. But how do you attach it? Like, where does that go? There's another piece. So there's going to be one other piece that holds like balloons in a centerpiece. That will attach to this frame. That's why it's important to attach the frame to the kite, because you're going to be attaching that piece to this, and then it'll secure the whole thing together, and then the little stick will then fit into it, and you'll be able to then just hold the kite like a balloon would be in a little centerpiece display. It's going to attach to the front of it like this, and then there's going to be a way to attach this stick to that little piece, and then you'll be able to move it. Lastly, that's essentially the kite. You can see it's actually creating like suction here. I can't pick it up because it's holding down. So that means it's very uniform and all flat and straight and everything else. A tail, like for the kite. So there's going to be a piece of crepe paper. Very simple. It's about a 3-foot length of crepe paper, just with a piece of tape. Just going to get taped to the back end of this. Typically a different color than the color of your kite. A complementary color would be great, say like an orange one to go with this blue kite, but you could use any color you want, and that would be it. All right, so now you have the kite. The structure is secured. You can see now to the surface, they're not pulling apart. And so it'll fly and hold up to practice and play and everything else. Okay, so that's essentially how you're gonna put the kite together.